So, my first question here actually is, I'm not an economist. Do we have economists in this room right now? None. That's beautiful. Then we can talk easily, and you will find out why a bit further. I'm an engineer, was raised as a system design engineer, and my first job was to work with an oil company. And like my fellow trainees, we worked hard, earned good money, had a sense of ambition. We wanted to climb the corporate ladder, and we were a bit scared to fall off it during the next reorganization. We didn't care too much about the big picture. If the mission of our company at the time, we shall make the world a better place, would be mentioned, it was always followed with some irony or even cynicism. So this has been my debut, proactive contribution to our economy. 15 years later, I run a place called Mr. Lion, and it's a lab for societal change and innovation. At the same time, you can see it's just an old Dutch farm. And whilst our kids are playing or quarreling downstairs, we work with people upstairs. We try to develop ideas, develop interventions on wicked societal issues, such as sustainable mobility, refugee shelter, old age care. As an entrepreneur, economically speaking, I'm probably a failure. We do not make profit, well, a little bit sometimes, but we definitely don't have ambitions to grow financially, and more often than not, we do things without getting paid. And if I would sell my company now, it would probably be pretty worthless. At the same time, when I work in my loft and I look around me and I look in the eyes of the people I work with, I see awakened looks, this funny tension, this energy. What does it take? Why are these people believing that they can make a difference, that good things can happen? Why do they want to think and act about issues that are bigger than themselves? Well, that is the topic that I've been thinking about for the past years. Why and how can we engage people to a bigger we? So, before I continue, I have this little drawing that I want to show, and I will give my own meaning for it. Looking is an active individual process. What I'm going to show you is my way of looking. It's not true, it's my way of looking. I invite you to join. But before that, what do you see here? Yes. What? Yeah, a dancing. Anybody? Loud? Well, I'm going to spoil it for you. There's a giraffe in here. Yeah? A giraffe. You see it? Looks that way. I don't have a pointer. Well, whatever. If you don't see it, ask me later. And by the way, it's better if you don't see it. Because, in fact, a wise lady told me a few months ago, in the origin of the root of the world economy, and I haven't checked it, so maybe it's not true, but she said it means set of house rules. Set of house rules. Well, if that's the origin of that word, that gives us a lot of opportunities. We all have a house, we can all set our own rules. That gives enormous amount of freedom. And I like this new world, we economy, because that means we can just make our own rules. Now I challenge you to, while I'm talking, to think of the rules you would like to make in your house. Yes. Now a little statement. I believe that the most important role of us, of our local government, is to empower communities. What I've experienced as my debutante in the active economy was that this focus on shareholder value, this focus on money, this focus on stakeholders, was mainly arising this question, what's in it for me? That was driving it. And what does it take, and what can we invent? Can we imagine an economy with another type of rules? where we actually encourage people to change the way they act, to change the way they think, to change the way they organize. We have enough societal issues that challenge this. So can we find an economy? What would be the rules for an economy where we can unleash our collective creativity? Right. Some examples, practices, and I have a particular way of looking at it. So here, some of you might see some sort of barbecue, street barbecue, yes? It looks nice, people seem to enjoy themselves, very green. The people who have been thinking of this is called a living street, by the way, were a bunch of Gentenaren, 5 to 10, maybe a bit more, and they were worried about mobility in the city. Because they really enjoyed, and I don't know if you have ever been in Ghent, it's a medieval city, and you can actually, it doesn't fit cars well. They really enjoyed the economy of proximity in Ghent. And they feel that the car is chasing that away. Malls arise, etc., etc. And by the way, it's not very sustainable, you have CO2, etc., etc. They also realized that the tough decisions to be made to get the cars away and change transport, that it was not the right time for that yet. So they started to experiment. They invited their fellow citizens to cut their streets in two. And the space that is in between, use it to live, the living street. It was not mandatory, people could just adhere, and the only thing they would do is help. Specialists would come in, help. Even the police department came in and helped, because it's not very legal at first sight. They co-created this. No money was involved, and as we speak now, 18 streets in Ghent are being transformed temporarily into living streets. And it is also already included in the pull-down menu of urban development. So maybe. So, my advice or my suggestion, my proposition for a new house rule will be simple, co-create. Co-create meaning just try out new things with other people that you consider as your equal, the specialist, the policymaker, the policeman, and allow yourself to transform while you're doing it. Don't get stuck in your own ideas. Listen and turn. You're not supposed to do that in politics, but in co-creation you do. Right. Another example, a very small example. Here in the Netherlands, this idea of saving energy in households didn't have a lot of momentum, and it's starting to build up a little bit. Actually, we don't save that much energy anyway because we're still living on a gas bubble. But in old age homes, the notion of energy and how much energy you use was just absent, non-existent. So we introduced an energy battle against 16 old age homes. And we asked housekeepers, nurses, caretakers, and of course the inhabitants to join. And everybody joined for their own reason. But gradually, over the period of time, and this was last winter, they all became sort of energy extremists. And they wanted to win. They wanted to know how much better they were doing this. And so why? Why? You know, all busy people, why would you bother? Let's see if we can derive another set of rules here. Use intrinsic motivation. It's for free. And just create the circumstances that this intrinsic motivation can be latched. You can do that at an individual base, but do it at a group base, much more powerful. So make sure that you can have a little bit of impact. In this nursing homes, they save 16% energy, and that is about 200,000 euros in 3 months with 16 houses, and that will just continue. Make sure that everybody is asking their competences. The homekeepers usually live in the basement of the building. We took them out, and they started to say this, that can happen. And the nurses followed, yes, we'll do it, and the inhabitants as well. And make sure it has some sort of meaning, or let people give it meaning. And I tell you, most old people have experienced some sort of Second World War things, and they know that you can live with much less. And finally, very important, let people do what they want to do. It's not mandatory. Then you're latching into this intrinsic motivation. To conclude, a last example, which I like very much. This is Frans. Frans lives in Groningen. He has built green stuff in a little plot of land. These days, the giraffe, the label is that it's a city garden. But Frans does funny things, because a lot of people living in Groningen who maybe do not function in our society as much as they would like to, and have been hopping from institution to institution, feel at home in Francis' garden. He does things differently. But now the problem. Our building industry is starting to grow again, and the city of Groningen needs money, and they want to develop something, and the developer wants to develop something too. There's cash to be earned here. And what Frans does is for free, at least. It doesn't cost, he doesn't get paid, he just does it. Together with about 5 to 20 creative people from Groningen, because there's a lot of creative people in Groningen, we tried to tackle this. We tried to invent a new economy, which I translate into English into the economy of trust, the Gronings-economie in Dutch, can't translate that. The interesting thing is that in this economy of trust, where you basically the point of departure is that I trust that if you take your time to what you want to do, that you will do something that's good for our community. And just go and do it. I'll share what I have, what I know, my relations, etc. That's a very powerful concept. So this is why, at this point in time, you can all sponsor Frans in some sort of foundation, I believe in Frans, so he can carry out and do what he wants to do, without any restriction. And maybe another thing that becomes very natural in this type of economy is the helpathon. Everybody participates in a helpathon. You know what a helpathon is? It exists only since a few months. It's a hackathon, but then on social issues. 48 hours, you help each other on ideas for the bigger us, the bigger we. Okay. So, have you been able to think of your own rules? Rules, your economy. You know, I'm a failure entrepreneur, but in these rules, I'm very good. So what are the rules that you need to contribute to your community? Thank you very much.